Well, and I agree. I think when you look at our profession, what's on the news? It's all the exciting, stressful stuff. And that can intimidate some people to think about.
Yeah.
But just know there's a whole system behind that that's supporting those officers to get through that.
Exactly.
Right? And it just makes the job that much easier.
Agreed.
Welcome to The Talking Beat, the podcast for the Portland Police Bureau. We are focusing on thoughtful conversations that we hope will inform and provide you with a small glimpse of work performed by Portland Police Bureau members and our partners, as well as issues affecting public safety in our city.
This is Officer Patrick Johnson from Portland Police Bureau, recruiting officer. Today I'm here with Amy and Neil from the wellness team. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Good. Let's start off with, what does wellness mean to you?
So wellness, especially here at the Police Bureau, I think one of the main things that comes to mind when we're talking about wellness is the aspect of physical wellness. For me, what the wellness program has shown me is, when I got hired, we focused on the physical wellness. We kind of focused on your ability to be in shape. But now it's so much more than that. And we kind of encompass the mental aspect, the emotional aspect, our social aspect of wellness, as well as talking about people's financial wellness. And so I think it's all encompassing of that. And I think that's one of the huge improvements we've made over the last 5 or 6 years by creating this program and being able to give people a foundation when they first show up of what that maybe looks like. And so wellness to me is kind of taking care of the whole person, the employee, as well as, giving them the tools they need to maintain that wellness throughout their career.
Okay.
I would add, as an individual, it's purposely taking that time to take care of yourself. I think we lose that a lot in our career. We're busy, we're working shift work, working long hours, overtime. When are we actually taking the time to take care of ourselves? And that's what wellness means to me, is we are taking time for ourselves.
What is the wellness program at the Portland Police Bureau?
It's a fairly new program. We started it in about 2018, but in those years, we've really created quite a robust program, in my opinion. One of the main things for me that I think the program allows us to do is, I'm going to get maybe this workout in after shift. You work 10 hours and then go home and do that. I think the wellness program buys you time back with your family. I think that's a huge thing, especially when, if you're going to be here doing the shift work, dealing with the stuff that, law enforcement as a career has to deal with, the organization giving you that hour to do whatever you will with it, work out, do any of the things that you can do in that hour, it does buy you time back to spend with your family, which I think is huge. We've created a program where we have a foundational set of classes that every officer gets to go through as they show up, pre-basic academy. Then when they return to advanced academy, which here is specific to us at Portland, they get another 10 hours of wellness time classes for us. And then outside of that, every single day in your 10-hour shift, you're going to get 1 hour to utilize for your own personal wellness, whether that's, physical, mental, emotional, financial, whatever that's going to be, however you're going to utilize that time. I think that's huge.
Dr. Stephanie Kahn, first responder psychology, talks about the waterfall, and our program has mainly been over the years a reactive one. Like, people are going over the waterfall, they need help. They're calling EAP or other resources in employee assistance program that we have to react to that. And what the wellness program is how do we get ahead of that upriver to help people build resilience, train them, give them skills so they don't have to go over the waterfall. Right. And so I really think that's the crux of the wellness program, is how do we get upstream and give more resources and training to people to help them earlier.
Why do you think the Portland Police Bureau is investing in wellness and the wellness program?
I think nationwide we have to. I think this is the way our profession is going nationally. Neil and I have had the opportunity to go to some wellness conferences where we get to talk to different agencies all over the nation. And this is a hot topic for morale, for retention, for people wanting to be in this profession, because everybody's acknowledging now the impact it's having us on human beings. But what are we doing as a profession to counteract that? Right, to help people. So PPB, I think, is on the forefront of this as we go to these conferences and what we're doing. But I think we have to do it to attract good people to work here.
Yeah, I see it as a benefit. When we talk to benefits to everyone, it's one of the benefits we talk about. And people are just like, their eyes just open up and can't believe that we're offering stuff like this during 1 hour of their 10 hours paid.
I think the other thing I'd say to that, I just want to highlight, this wouldn't have happened without the community stepping up and backing us. Like, this program was built and kind of orchestrated by our organization getting together with the people of Portland, and everyone kind of agreed that, well, we'd like our officers to, be well, I guess, but take care of themselves. We believe it, having an ability to maybe decompress a little bit at any point during your day leads to better outcomes, better decision making, better interactions with the community, where maybe you're not stressed out to the max every single day. You're given a reprieve each day to do something to benefit yourself, and I think that's huge. I think that's a big step. Our organization and our community got together to do this for the members of the Portland Police Bureau.
So we've been doing this for some time, and it's evolving and getting better and better. What are some of the positive outcomes that you've been hearing from the officers? Because you see a lot of them starting in the training phase, and then obviously down the road through end services and stuff like that.
There's many stories. We do a survey every year, and there's many stories that come through in that on people talking about their health improvement, their weight loss, physical strength gaining. We're talking about the physical stuff, but then also the mental health part of it, where people are utilizing our mental health resources, or even just understanding. We give classes on sleep and understanding how sleep can affect them every day. And, understanding sleep better translates into people feeling better, when they're at work, when they're at home, having more energy to spend time with their family. So those are the short term, I think, things that we've noticed. And we've had lots of stories of, people improving their sleep, improving maybe their overall health, but also their physical health. Long term, which I don't think we truly know yet, but I think that by focusing on all this stuff, I think the organization is truly showing that not only does it value its members now, but it values how they are once they're gone, right? We're trying to keep people for an entire career, but make sure we set them up well after they retire to live a healthy, fulfilled life afterwards. And I think long term, I think we're really trying to do that.
And also, too, you talked about sleep and health. And this is shift work. So we have people working day shift, afternoons, night shift. And so I think that helps them adjust to that. And then as they go through all different types of shifts. I know myself, I had issues with sleep when I went from an afternoon shift to a day shift. And things I'm doing now to help that. We'll talk about that here in a second, some of the wellness program things.
I would add to that, though, the open conversations we have now with people, and I, reflect back that we all probably slept really awful, and we all had some impacts of calls, but we never talked about it, right? We just went home and said, okay, that's just part of the job. But you walk down a hallway now and you can say, I didn't sleep well last night, and you can talk about resources. All those conversations are on the table, especially in mental health. I mean, that was a huge one we would never talk about. You dealt with that personally. Now we have psychologists in our organization, and people walking up to them and say, hey, when can I come see you, in the middle of a group of people, and nobody cares. It's the norm, right? Which is way different, I think, these days.
So what are some of the examples of wellness that officers can do, say, during their 10-hour shifts? So they have 1 hour. I've always said mind and body wellness. You've talked about that a little more in depth of that. But what are some things? I know we have coaches. I know we have certain classes you can do. So
I'll try to touch on a few. I'm sure I'll miss some. But, you have your traditional ones that I think everyone thinks of. We have gyms in each of our precincts where people can go and work out. And they can do their own program. They can, we have cardio equipment, weightlifting equipment. We have all sorts of options. Even just that has improved, I think, since the wellness program came. The facilities, the gym space has improved. But outside of that, we also have more organized classes. So what we've done over the past 2 years is we have created a group, or got a bunch of people who are interested in each topic and got them certifications in lots of different things like fitness, meditation, sleep coaches, yoga instructors. And if they had an interest in it, we got them certified through some form of class. And now they're offering these classes in an organized fashion. So as an example of that, I'll talk about yoga. Yoga has organized classes going on over at Southeast Precinct for, they have classes, a couple classes at Central, one at North and one at East. And so as part of that, we have these instructors who are now organizing a class that you can just show up and attend and use at your wellness hour for that. And I think that's been awesome for people to see. Outside of that, we have other coaches who are certified just in fitness who got a National Academy sports medicine certification. So they can, if maybe physical, like working out in a gym wasn't your thing before, they can help you. Like, hey, how do I do this? How do I prevent myself from getting hurt? What should I focus on?
hey, I'm going to plan to go to the gym every day. What do I need to do to build this or build muscle mass or whatever like that?
Absolutely. And that's kind of the hope, is you just have a resource where you work that you can ask. Hopefully it's someone that you're comfortable talking to, and that we have them listed out so you know who they are. So you can go find someone you're comfortable with, ask them the question, and you've got that there. So that's like an organized wellness time. We also have some that I highlight that I think are fairly unique. We talk about that's the physical wellness, but we talk about social, mental, emotional wellness too in our pillars. And I think a lot of that, when we got hired, there was more of us, and so we had maybe time at the end of shift to go to coffee and hang out with your coworkers. That doesn't happen as much right now, at least in this current environment. But what we do have people doing is, instead of that, for instance, one of the precincts came up with like a painting club, and it was and I thought it was funny when I first heard it, but honestly, it's a way for them all to get together, to socialize as friends and coworkers. They get to make fun of each other at how bad or good they are at painting. It's super enjoyable for them. And so the wellness program supported that and helped buy the canvases and easels and stuff so they could do that. I've also seen organized things where people are getting together. I think at East Precinct, they have a track right across the street, and they'll get together and they'll go run the track together. And again, you talk about the physical aspect of that, but more importantly to me is the emotional and kind of social aspect of being given a moment to hang out with your coworkers, your friends, outside of the normal, we're on a call together, we're on a perimeter together, we're on maybe a critical incident. So now we get to bond outside of that. And I think that's great.
And then we go beyond that. Even if you're having financial issues, we have financial consultation you can do during wellness hour. If you need a will, we've got means to get you that set up. So just what is that holistic approach? Anything and everything you need for your wellness, you can do during your wellness hour.
Yeah, because if you're having like financial issues or something like that, you might have to work way more overtime, and then there goes your health or your time with your family or something like that. The Alpha Stim is the one I've been using. I like it. It's awesome to have that type of resource while you're at work and kind of have that time just to take that, and my sleep has improved. At least my experience from it.
I'd just say the Alpha Stim, we've heard a lot of great feedback on that. For anybody listening to this, I hope you look it up to find out more, because I'm definitely not the doctor.
Yes.
But when I describe it, that's just one of the tools we have available to us through First Responder Psychology, who kind of oversees that. And it's supposed to treat, some forms of anxiety, depression, and insomnia. And really the main one we tend to hear about is the insomnia, or like just hard time sleeping based on shift work schedules. And really all it's doing is kind of like, in my head, it's like lowering the volume so that we can fall asleep faster, so we can get better quality sleep. And one of the things in working with OHSU, which we can talk about here in a little bit, that we've brought them in to teach that sleep class, is we've learned that we're not always going to get 8 hours of sleep, but can we make the sleep we do get effective? Yeah. And I think the Alpha Stim truly helps that.
And we can talk about that now. The partnerships. What are partnerships you guys have right now, or what are you looking toward do in the future, or anything like that with the wellness program?
That's our hope always with the wellness program, is keep pushing the ball forward. So our position, we're in the wellness team, and my specific position is the wellness coordinator. And so I see, our job in the wellness team is trying to bring in the experts that will give our members the information they need or want to utilize their wellness time in an effective manner. That's how I kind of see. Mm-hmm. And so we've worked together with, locally here, we have Oregon Health and Sciences University, OHSU. And we worked with their sleep laboratory and had them create a class on sleep, the effects of not sleeping, the effects of getting good sleep, and shift work. And so we were able to kind of, although we know shift work can be hard, we were able to kind of tailor it to where we could give recommendations to our membership for how they can improve and get more effective sleep no matter when they're sleeping. And what I learned from that is, when I was on night shift, I did night shift for about 10 years. I did everything wrong. So I'm really happy that we brought someone in to teach us, because I didn't.
Halfway through your career.
Yeah, I didn't do it. Yeah. So that's one, OHSU. We also partner with OHSU, where we're trying to right now to get to work with a human performance lab to get a cardiovascular screening program, just to kind of another step for our membership to keep them, cardiovascular disease is one of the number one killers of just people in general, but especially in first responder career fields. The idea behind this program is to try to get over all the hurdles. Okay. So, let's say you have some sort of genetic marker or health marker that gets you, okay, you're ticking up the list for cardiovascular disease. Well, then you have to work with your insurance and your doctor to maybe get to the next test and the next test. And they have kind of thresholds where they're going to start recommending you for things. The idea with this is we're going to skip that threshold and try to get everyone in so we can get a full, like a comprehensive exam of their overall health, especially as it pertains to cardiovascular risk and cancer risk. Knowing that those two things are two of the most prevalent killers of first responders and humans in general, but also if they're predictable, they're preventable. And so we're hoping to get in on the front end to get people thinking about it and to pay attention to it from the moment they join the organization is our hope.
I would add a couple of other relationships. I mentioned first responder psychology. We have many relationships with mental health professionals to come in and do proactive training, to meet with our members. And then the other one is the headquarters PT, physical therapy, that we've brought in to really focus on injury prevention with our members.
And I would highlight headquarters physical therapy a lot. I'm glad Amy brought that one up because to me, we utilize them for all sorts of classes. We just had a wellness in service is kind of a thing that we've been trying to incorporate more. Essentially what that would mean, if anyone doesn't know what an in-service is, it's an ongoing training. Well, our wellness in-services are ongoing training where you can elect to go, and we're going to put on topics that are going to pertain to you and your wellness. And Headquarters Physical Therapy is a huge partner in putting those on. They come in with their physical therapist, and they'll do movement screenings on people. They'll do like lightweight workouts under the guide or of a physical therapist, right? So you're not going to get yourself hurt. They've also brought in people for stress management. They've brought in people for breath work. And we've had amazing feedback on those classes and where we've been asked to have those people return numerous times.
And I was going to ask about that in a second, but let's go back to this in-service. Can you just give us an example? So it was a 1 day, 10-hour-ish in-service. Can you just tell me kind of what the participants would have heard or participated in that day?
What this day would look like is you would show up and it would be a 7 to 5, so full day, 10-hour day. And
paid.
Yep,
Okay.
Absolutely. And so it's a training day. It's a work day. And so you come to work. You would come to wherever the location is. In this case, I'll give you an example of what our most recent one was. It was at the training division. Amy put together a couple of different assessment kind of guides, and we kind of tailored it to us here at the Portland Police Bureau. And so you do a self-assessment with us, and we talk about good habits versus bad habits and how easy it is based on our schedule and our workload to develop some bad habits. Mm-hmm. And so that self-assessment was just for you. It was just to kind of highlight maybe some things you could look for throughout the day at the Wellness in Service where I wanted to focus. So for me, for instance, she tested it out on me. And one of the things I realized is I should probably focus a little bit more time on like my social aspects. Like I was very work oriented. I was very team oriented. And so I wanted to make, I filled out the survey. I did it to myself. So it was great to see, like, oh, okay, I need to maybe, plan some more time at home, some more structured time at home with my family, which I thought was awesome. And so that's what I chose to focus on during Wellness in Service days. So each person's going to get a little bit different look at that. That's your first hour. Your second hour was with us, and we did a financial coaching. And what that looks like for, at least in this class, is just an overview to get people kind of a foundational baseline of what maybe they could expect in retirement. So how should we be planning? What does that look like based on the benefits we have here at the city of Portland? Then they'd go into Headquarters Physical Therapy came. And they did a movement screening. So everyone would get into their clothes they were comfortable working out in. They'd go into the mat room and they'd do a movement screening. And they'd go through that whole process, followed up by a light workout of some sort. Get your body moving, sweat a little bit. But then you also had a 2-hour class from one of our first responder psychology doctors, Dr. Stephanie Kahn. And she put on kind of a stress management resilience class, which everyone really liked. And so we had that for 2 hours. We had a local guy who used to be in the military. He came and also talked about practical management of stress. So Dr. Kahn kind of touched on how do we manage stress? What are the signs of stress, stuff like that. And then he would come in right after and talk about kind of practical methods for dealing with stress in the moment. So he had kind of he went over a morning routine to go through, went over an evening routine, and then he called it a 1 minute out. So let's say you're responding to a call. What can I do to bring my stress level down? Yeah. Which was great. And so people really like that. And then I think I'm not missing anything else other than the breath work.
Yep.
And so the last class of the day was breath work, which honestly I was a little nervous about because we've had, that's necessarily something that people sometimes that comes across and people don't like it.
Yeah.
People loved this class. They had someone come up from Bend. Her name is Erin. And she taught this class. She brought everyone to the mat room and she kind of just gave a discussion on how breath work works, how it can help us regulate our nervous system, how it can help calm us down, and then had everyone go through like a 20 to 30 minute breathwork session. I didn't know what people's feedback on that would be, but we got amazing feedback. It was great. So I think that's even awesome. Just the ability to expose people to that.
Yeah.
Hey, and if it's your cup of tea, great. If it's not, great. But now you know, right? And so that was their full wellness day.
So you've kind of touched on a little bit on several of the steps we've talked about here, like the feedback from the participants. What are some of the feedback you're getting from everyone? And I know it's like as you add more and more stuff, what is the feedback you're getting? I'm telling you today about me with the sleep, but I know a lot of people are probably talking to you about what their feedback is.
That's an interesting because Neil did a class in in-service and I would substitute when he wasn't there. And we did this exercise. What do you like about this program? And we whiteboard it. And a lot of feedback of the best things ever happened. They really enjoy it. We still do have those folks that didn't grow up with wellness, in their daily schedule. So it's hard for them to get away and take that hour because there's that guilt.
That change too,
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Change to their
so,
schedule. Yeah.
But I see the culture change of it super positive. And this is just what I know in general feedback. You get everything from, I'm so glad I lost all this weight because of my physical fitness, to somebody saying, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the wellness program because I was in a bad place, right? And so this whole realm of feedback of how it's impacting people overall.
And I've had people come up to me and tell me, and I believe them when they say that, there's a lot of other things we do in this job. We do a lot of, no matter what it is, whatever your job is, patrol, working in investigations, wherever it is you work. But I've had people come up to me and be like, this is probably going to be the most important work you'll remember in your career. And I think that might be true in the sense of like what Amy just said. If we have people who are in a bad place and we can get them the help they need, mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever it is, I think that is the most important work we'll ever do. And so we've gotten a lot of really good feedback. One of the main ones I've heard is just the flexibility of being able to use it. And because it's not just that physical aspect of wellness, because of all the options that we try to allow for, the ability that the classes we brought in to teach people about sleep, the breath work, all these things that not only are good for you in the hour during the day, but also you can take home and utilize.
Yeah. And I think of painting when you say that. I'm going to go start painting. I think now.
There you go. Yeah.
So people that are listening and watching this podcast, thinking about joining the Portland Police Bureau. So we talked about how it's integrated into our daily shift. How is it in the pre-academy and then the advanced academy, which we kind of talked about a little bit? How you said 10 hours, but is that integrated so they're able to do it every day? And you're just teaching a foundation of what they'll be able to do once they're out of the academies on their own?
I'll kind of touch on each of them. The pre-academy, which what that means for us is here in the state of Oregon, you have to go to DPSST. And so prior to going to that academy, we're going to bring you in and give you some classes just to get you ready for the academy. One of which is going to be an introduction into the wellness program. And that introduction, we just kind of talk about the policy, what is available to you, what's afforded to you as a member of the Portland Police Bureau. But really, we want people to take a serious look at what does wellness mean to you? And so we kind of get them started right there. Then they head off to the basic academy, and when they come back to us, so they hit the street for a little bit, and then when they come back to us in our what we call our advanced academy, we have a bunch of classes built in there to kind of further round out that foundation. And so we have a class on financial wellness. We have a class on the effects of alcohol on you and how it affects your sleep. We have a class on sleep. We have a class on nutrition. And so a few of these classes are taught by us, but most of them, we actually bring in experts to talk about it. So we have a heart health class that's usually brought in. Headquarters Physical Therapy brings in a doctor to talk about how this job and our schedules will affect the hormones in your system and what that does to your heart. So they talk about heart health. We have a nutritionist that comes in and talks about nutrition and just, working at odd hours, doing shift work, and then how our choices in what we eat can affect us. And so just an overview of nutrition.
Day one, when they get hired, I try to come in on hire day and introduce the wellness program, and not just to build habits that day, but to show all the resources you're hired today, guess what? All this is available to you.
Yeah.
Because that first 18 months is hard. I mean, it's a new job, new experiences, training, stuff you've never done before. There's going to be stress. There's going to be anxiety. And so we want you to know day one, all these resources are here for you to get you through all that, right? And then as we move into Advanced Academy and Neil's teaching them all these classes about habits, is we want it to be just as important to learn your healthy habits to take care of yourself that it is how to shoot your gun, how to drive a vehicle, right? That's just as important because if you don't have that, all the other stuff isn't going to work well for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so there's a series of classes that Neil was listing off is the whole point is this is just as important for you to learn in your first 18 months, taking care of yourself, than it is for you to be able to drive a car, shoot a gun, your control tactics kind of things, learn the law. It needs to be at that same realm.
Well, I appreciate you guys being here. Do you have anything more to add? I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys talk all day about this stuff.
Yeah.
We go.
It's kind of one of those benefits that people don't realize when we talk about pay and then we talk about health benefits, as in like going to the doctor and stuff like that. But this is another one of those benefits. You're getting an hour a day of your shift on top of all the other stuff you talk about during training like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just incredible, just the advancements we're doing here.
Well, and I agree. I think when you look at our profession, what's on the news? It's all the exciting, stressful stuff. And that can intimidate some people to think about.
Yeah.
But just know there's a whole system behind that that's supporting those officers to get through that.
Exactly.
Right. And it just makes the job that much easier.
Agreed.
And the only last thing I'd add to that is, to anyone listening to this, like this program was built for all of us here, the employees that are here, and it's built off of people's recommendations, ideas. And so anyone who, looking to be a part of the Portland Police Bureau and you have ideas, like this program's here for you. That's the idea. We want to keep pushing the ball forward. So if there's something else you'd like to see, let us know and we'll try to incorporate it.
It's changing. As she said, in service this year, we had the wipe off board and we're adding what we like and everything like that, or ideas or what we can do. And then you have the survey that I just filled out today of, what you like, and you can add in some stuff there. So,
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me today. Interested in applying? Go to joinportlandpolice.com.